Anyway, I'm ready. Are we streaming?
Yeah, we're
Let's
streaming,
go.
I guess. I don't know. Jeff tells me there's no delay in YouTube. So, hi, I'm
Is that a
Eric.
fact?
I'm here with Mike
Hi, I'm
and
Mike.
Alex and
Hi.
Kurt.
Hello.
And this is the On the Sticksmas Exchange program.
Yeah, part 3 of like 7 this year.
Yeah, we're
Something like
gonna
that.
get it done by the end of before springtime rolls around,
Just
probably.
in time for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, so this is Alex's first year.
We'll
in
play only games in green.
This is Alex's first year in the Stickmas enrollment program, and Eric can attest to you.
And last,
I was
based on
gonna
his
say
reaction.
potentially last.
Don't stop spoiling all the surprises, Kirk. Come on. As Eric can attest to you, sometimes Stickmas games can be more maybe educational than fun. Certainly, in the past, I've saddled him with a couple of old PC
Mike-
games that I thought he needed to experience.
Mike and I
too.
have had a thing where we basically just send each other borderline unplayable old PC games.
Sometimes it works out.
It works. It's okay. I have enjoyed all of the 2 that you've sent me. It's been.
I like the detective thing in me there. The what was it called?
What's that?
Tex Murphy.
Oh yeah,
I finished that game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Anyway, since it was Alex's first year, I
Creepy-ass
decided
clown.
not to do anything mad, mean like that to him. So what I sent him
Are you
instead
sure
was
about that?
my almost favorite game of the year. Just
Yeah.
barely beat out.
Now
by
who's
a
spoilering?
hair. And I think I've sunk about 75 hours into this game this year,
Good
and I think
grief.
it's super
That's-
fantastic. So Alex, why don't you tell
That's
the group just
fucking
how much you enjoyed it?
Bonkers to me that you would do that to yourself.
I've never played it before. I'm the one streaming, by the way. So
Yeah, well, pick quit. The mode you want to pick is quit.
hey, Alex, did you like this game?
Actually, let me tell you how to get the secret ending in this game. It's really complicated. It's like this weird meta thing. What you have to do is go to your Steam library and find Subnautica. Right-click, go down a few, uninstall, and click that. That's how you beat this game. Anyway, I played Subnautica and I fucking hated it.
I think we need to have a little therapy session here, Alex.
Yeah.
He was obsessing over exactly how many of the 4 hours he was required to play were left.
Let's dive in and figure
I
out what.
literally timed it. I actually went over by 3 minutes. So
Oh my
you're
God.
welcome.
Let's just see if we can get to the root of your problems and fix you, because you're clearly a broken person.
There's nothing to fix. The problem is actually this. Okay, let's clarify. This game isn't bad. It's not a bad game. It's just a game that does every single thing that I don't want a video game to do.
It is not an Alex game.
It is the anti-Alex game. It's like so laser focused on all the things I don't want, and it's like, yeah, isn't that cool? It's like, no, fuck you. I did not enjoy this game at
So
all.
what is the for calibration here?
Yeah.
What is the perfect? What is the Alex game?
Oh, I don't.
The exemplar Alex game that does all the things you want.
I mean,
Street Fighter
I've always
5.
said that my. Yeah. Oh God. Let's not go there. Shit. Yeah. What is it? I don't know. Probably. I've always said that Ocarina of Time is my favorite game of all time, but that was like a right game at the right time kind of a thing.
Sure.
Breath of the Wild is really good. That's the game that like I've been waiting my entire life for, quote unquote. Probably
So
this is
Zelda
a stupid
games?
cliche. I mean, they're definitely up there. This is a stupid cliche choice at this point, but I would say probably like Bloodborne, because it's a hard, it's a challenging game that has like a deep system. Like it looks cool. It's got like a weird and cool story, and it's fucking just sick as hell, and it's fun. Like you just fight a bunch of guys.
It's hard and iconoclastic, and you want to beat people up.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
This game is.
So this does not do that.
This game is see. So okay, let me.
Eric
set
is
the
currently on
stage.
fire.
Good. Let me
Don't,
set.
don't walk into the fire, Eric. No, that's not.
I'm just gonna put it over here with the rest of the.
In this
fire.
very realistic simulation game, you should not walk into the fire and get burned to death.
I was trying to stamp it out.
A plus for creativity. I appreciate.
Just jump
that.
up and down.
So let's set the stage a little bit. Mike is like, hey, you should play this game, or I guess like you legally have to. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's
Here,
right.
here is your game.
and I was
Here
like,
is your
okay.
contract.
I was like, okay, whatever, I'll play that. But so my understanding of this game is, oh, it's a survival game. I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what that is, but I'm sure there's gonna be like, I'm gonna get hungry and need to eat, and like thirsty and need to shit, or like whatever you do in these kind of games. And I was like, cool, that's fine.
You're laughing,
And,
but there
like,
are games where you have to shit.
No, it was that
There's
he would
games where
get
you have to
thirsty
shit,
and
and then
thus,
you can also-
and thus need to
You
shit.
can pick it up and use it as a weapon, or you can eat it if you want. Hi, Art.
Hey, work is calling me. No, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm not really into that, but like, whatever, I'll do it, sure.
Some good looking
I
water.
was also, because I was like, oh, it's a survival game. It'll be like one of those games where it's like, yeah, there's just a bunch of shit that's trying to kill you. It's kind of hard. You gotta like dodge all the dudes who are trying to kill you and be sneaky. It's not really like that at all. But I had that expectation of like, yeah, I'm gonna have to fight a bunch of guys and like that'll be all right. Yeah, that was kind of what I basically going into it. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like this, but like I'll see why people do like this and be kind of maybe a little bored, but like whatever, and that'll be it. But then I did play it, and I was like, oh, dude, this is just Minecraft, but it sucks. And it's like, okay, I get it. Also, no, I don't want to play this. This sucks. Like, it's like a fun little like. Okay, so.
Now wait, what's your opinion of Minecraft?
Minecraft's whatever. I played it when
Okay.
it first came out, and I thought it was
When
fine.
it's just Legos,
But-
you mean, or when it actually came out?
When it came out on Xbox, I played it on 360.
Okay, so you didn't.
So
like,
whenever
when
that
I played,
was.
the only time I played Minecraft, there was no survival or crafting anything.
It was
literally
was
just
just-
Legos.
right,
Yeah.
and it was
So-
just make your own fun. And I was like, why would I do
I
that?
had a lot of fun. That was the only time I ever had fun with Minecraft. Break limestone.
Yeah, I thought Minecraft was fine at the time, but like, you know, whatever. I'm not really like a super creative person. I don't like drawing or painting or anything. Never have. Like, you know, I don't. I always use the default character if there's a game with a character generator. You know, like that's.
You mean you don't hit random
don't-
until you get some horrible monstrosity?
Well, I do that for fun, and then when I'm done doing that, I like put it.
Oh yeah, I'm
back
gonna.
to the default.
Okay, so everything is
Yeah.
broken, right? But I found these acid mushrooms, so I'm just gonna go back into my thing and get fucked up.
And have a good time.
So,
Nice.
Here, this is actually perfect. You're illustrating it right now because I'm watching you play here. I would say one of my biggest pet peeves in games is if I feel this is a nebulous thing, but if I feel like a game is wasting my time, and so like that can take any form, right? Like there's no that's very vague.
I was
but,
gonna
like-
say, how many hours of Fallout 76 did you play exactly?
Actually, we're gonna come back to that. I have a whole. I told you I took notes. That's actually relevant to this game. We're gonna talk about it. So hold that thought. But so look right now, if you will, on the bottom left of the screen. There's an O2 gauge, and look at what Eric is doing, which is, oh, I'm gonna explore this underwater world, and then every like I don't know, 30 seconds, I need to go back to 45, I guess. I need to go back to the surface and get oxygen.
Yeah, but if you play the game for like 10 minutes, you can get
I
a better oxygen tank.
I know, but I mean, that's sort of the idea of like, this is where the game is starting. I was like, well, this is annoying. I want to like go explore and I can't. And so then you do this enough, and then you get oxygen tanks, and then you get bigger oxygen tanks, and then you can have multiple so you can switch. So eventually, oxygen becomes not trivial, but basically trivial. So it's like, okay, why is this here then?
I think you
like,
can
why
turn
is this
that off
mechanic
if you
here in the
want. I
game?
think there is a.
There's some really good answers to that question.
All right, well,
Yeah, well, I mean, how far into the game did you get? So I
4
definitely
hours.
He made a knife. I was
definitely
there when he
saw
made
a
the
little
knife.
bit of what you're talking about while you're playing the game. A lot of complaining, a lot of kvetching, one would say. It kind of read like the only thing you did was swim around, collect rocks, and try to build a few tools. Like, did you go anywhere? Did you like find any cool stuff?
I went to the ship, and then like it was like you need a laser cutter, and I never found a single diamond, so I couldn't make it. So I couldn't do the ship.
But did you not go like to any places aside from where the pod comes down and the ship? Because this game's got a whole bunch of different like zones you can explore, and they've all got different stuff, and they look
I don't know.
different.
I like swam around, and there was shit in the water, and it was like you're in the water, and I was like, okay. I don't know.
All right, I guess some of the subtlety was a little lost on you then.
I guess.
As you explore through, there's different biomes, and they look completely different, and they have different resources, and they're fun to explore because it's a big world that's filled with like neat looking stuff that you can go check out. Anyway, as you explore, did you find like any other wrecks? Because there's a whole bunch of wrecks on the ocean floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
what?
So like among other things, you spent some time kind of swimming down through those, trying to find stuff, picking through them. And like as you're swimming through them, you get this thing that happens in real life. You get like weird vertigo and kind of loss of orientation, and you've gone kind of pretty far into these chunks, and you're trying to figure out how you get back to either the surface, or eventually you build like sick ass submarines and things like that. And you can find
I got some of the plans for some of those.
Right. Anyway, so some of the most intense experience I had in this year were being stuck in these like rusting hulks and like trying to find my way out while my oxygen is ticking down, and getting that like very real life feeling of like being a cave diver. And it was super tense and really cool. So I don't know. I think it serves a purpose for you to have oxygen even later on. Having a submarine really trivializes a lot of that too, because you can just refuel inside your submarine anytime you want to get more. But I definitely had some super intense moments where it was just like time was ticking down and trying to scramble my way out of this place. And I don't know. It was a pretty cool experience, I thought.
I guess. I mean, I didn't do it, so. But I mean, to me, it's just basically. I mean, oxygen. All it is basically it's a time limit, right? So it's just like. It makes sense in the context of what you're saying, where it's like, okay, you have this. You can only have a limited amount of time to explore while you're doing this little specific, like while you're in let's call it a dungeon, right? Like your dungeon is on a time limit. You got to explore this thing, get everything you need, and get out before you die. Okay, that's cool. But when I'm just like trying to like, oh, I need to get stuff to eat because my hunger meter is low, it's like just kind of an annoyance. So I guess it's a double-edged sword, I guess, is what we're saying. What I'm discovering, which is I felt like it was just a basically huge waste of time, but you're saying there's a purpose later on.
I mean, the purpose that came up in a lot of different situations. There's also the fact that it limits you like in how deep you can realistically go, and so when you're trying to explore like a really deep dark cave, you need to either find an upgrade or find some way to make it down and get the cool stuff that's in there. Or do what Eric is doing right now and just float on top of a brain coral, and you can refill your oxygen.
Right. Yeah, I complained about that. I said that it doesn't make the little Sonic the Hedgehog noise when you breathe the air in. I was like, that's dumb.
I don't think you want any game to be more like Sonic the Hedgehog when you're underwater.
I don't know. I like what is it?
Mm-hmm. Like nightmares? Is that what you like having? Yeah. Well, this game's really good about giving you nightmares.
I like Bloodborne.
Anyway, I understand that if you like really dense mechanical games, then this is not one
also,
about.
he got a knife and he was really angry that he couldn't use it to kill all the fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not that game.
That was the specific moment where I was like, oh man, this game is not an Alex game, because I got I think the blueprint for the knife is there at the beginning of the game, and I was like, all right, I need to get a knife, because those stupid fish keep trying to attack me, and they don't do any damage. It's just kind of like they're like annoying. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna fight them and make them go away. And then you can't fight them. I was like, dude, what? Like, you hit them once, and they're like, oh, and they run away, and it's like, okay, well, that's still helpful, but like,
but look at this guy.
I want to fucking fight this guy.
I think that like one of the coolest things about this entire game is the fact that it's non-violent. There are effectively no guns. You don't really kill anything. You're just kind of trying to stay alive and stay away from things that want to eat you.
Yeah, that's not an Alex game.
No, but there are things about this game, like why do you love Breath of the Wild, for example? Like, it wasn't for the awesome combat, was it?
No, not really. No, because this is gonna sound contradictory, but it's because I like exploring,
Right.
and I like finding stuff. But the way this game does that is annoying.
I wonder if you
Breath of
had
the
turned
Wild.
off all of the survival stuff and just got to just like
Oh,
float
absolutely.
around and look
I think
at
if you're gonna
things.
play this game, you should turn off all the survival stuff, because it just wastes your time. It keeps you away from the part that's fun, which is exploring stuff. Like,
You could have done that. I wouldn't have been mad.
I thought about it, but the only reason why I didn't was because I was like, I want to experience this game like the way that it was intended.
Pure
So I
and
was like,
uncut.
yeah, exactly. I was like, there's the mode that is for me, but then there's the mode that the developers are like, this is the game we're trying to make. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll play your game.
Yeah.
But the answer is I should.
I mean,
have
they
done
put
that
those
because
they
they're-
put
a
those
lot of different
modes
versions
in
of this
there
game.
so that way you can play them all those different. If they didn't want you to play it that way, then they would Dark Souls that shit and not put those options in there.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the game has a creative mode where you have unlimited resources and you can just build whatever the hell you want
Yeah.
from the very
Right.
get-go. You know, like I think they support all that stuff really well. The other thing, like, I mean, I can understand not being in love with the food system, but it does make it really satisfying later on when you find ways to basically just have everything that you need at all times. Like you can
So-
build a cool base and you can get, you know, basically endless food and water supplies.
So let's talk about that. This is
Let's
where
talk
Fallout.
about that.
This is where Fallout comes in, which is so Fallout 76, as you all know, is like a garbage fire of a game, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Did you get your leather satchel or whatever the fuck it was?
no, I didn't do. I
You
didn't do the
pay
pre-order. thing.
$200 on it.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Oh, did you see the thing about the rum they made?
Rum? Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
there's a
it's-
Bethesda has a distillery.
this, you know, they made a contract with some distillery, right? And they had this idea of like, we're gonna sell like Nuka, not Nuka Cola, but it's like a Nuka Cola
Nuka
bottle,
rum.
Nuka rum.
Uh huh. Oh boy.
So you can make a Nuka rum and Nuka Cola.
Sure. Yeah. You
Yeah.
could.
Boy. That's a cool looking
Nuka
moon.
squared
God
cola
damn it,
rum.
Mike, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so they were like, yeah, well, it's $80 for a bottle of rum that looks like a Nuka rum bottle, like the Nuka Cola like shaped bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what there were all these delays where it was like $80 and they said it was going to come out this day and then it didn't. And they're like, it's going to be 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, they didn't say anything. And then it was a month and blah, blah, blah. You know, shit like that happened. Then they finally were like, okay, it's not done yet, but we're almost there. Here's your for real ship date. And they're like, and to get you excited, here's a video of like what it's going to look like. And it's a video of basically they show the bottle and it's just a normal ass bottle of rum that's inside like a plastic shell.
What?
That looks like a Nuka Cola bottle, but it's like
By the way-
it's like $5.
By the way, it's coconut flavored.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a
Nuka
fish.
dark rum. I
Anyway,
am
so yeah,
overcome.
it's just like I don't know if it actually has come out yet, but that was the last I heard about it. But it was still just like, dude, how did you guys fuck this up even more?
Mike, what do I
Like,
do with
what?
this hoverfish?
What
Eat
does
it.
that have to do, by the way, with what we're talking about now?
I'm getting there. So I'm just we got sidetracked a little bit because
Because fuck everything about Fallout
Fallout's such a
76.
fucking mess.
I believe it was
So,
Giant
but no, so
Bomb's hottest
Fallout,
mess.
I'm a big, I really like the Bethesda Fallouts, right? And so 76 was in the news, it hadn't been out yet, and like, everybody was saying it was bad, and I was like, well, you know, I really like Fallout, I'm gonna try it anyway, even though it's really bad. So I bought it and played it,
Uh-huh.
and I was really into it. I played it for like 20-something hours, 25 hours, something like that. And Fallout has a thirst and hunger gauge. This is where it becomes relevant, Mike. So, but on top of that, Fallout also has like weight encumbrance, right? Like you can only carry so much stuff. Your storage can only you can put stuff in storage. But Fallout 76 has a thing where like there's limited storage space, so you need all these resources to build your base, and then but you can't store stuff, and you can only carry so much, and you need to keep food so you can eat, so you can get your hunger and thirst gauges up, but you don't have room. Stuff spoils, blah blah blah. And so I was kind of dealing with all that, and then there's now Fallout has a lot of other problems aside from that. We don't need to get into all that, but I was dealing with all of this kind of stuff, and I was still into it. I played it like 20 whatever hours, and then I took like a day off because I was like, okay, I don't want to get burnt out on this. So I took a day off, and then I went back to it, and I was like dealing with all this hunger and thirst and weight and all that shit. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like, fuck this game. I'm not playing this anymore. And I quit, and I haven't gone back to it. And then months passed, and then you were like, hey, play Subnautica. And all those systems are exactly the fucking same in this game as they are in Fallout 76. Except they're even worse because, one, hunger and thirst, it's like, okay, sure, the bar goes down, I eat the food, the bar goes up. Okay, I guess that's something. It feels like a waste of time to me, but like, all right, I guess that serves a purpose. Whatever. It's just like a minor annoyance. It's not a big deal. But the thing that makes this game even worse than Fallout in this regard is the storage. Because not only is your inventory limited and your storage is limited, yeah, you can make new storage, but it's not connected. So you have to know where you can make little boxes you can put things in, but you have to know what thing you put in what box. And on top of that, you have to have all the items physically on you. They can't be in storage. They have to be physically on you if you want to craft with it. So it's like I spent a bunch of time just going like, oh, I need 2 more titanium. Let me see, which box did I put the titanium in? And then I pick up 2 titanium, and then it's like, you know what I mean? And then I have to go back inside the ship, and then there, you know what I mean? Just lots of time wasting time because it just can't craft stuff from storage.
But how did you get to have that much junk in the amount of time that you played? Like, sure, I had a bunch of lockers by the time I'd played 15 hours or something, but
I don't know how you didn't have that time. I was purposefully not picking things up because I was like, I don't have room for all this stuff. And like, then I was still running out of space all the time. And I was trying to build as many things as I could as like quickly as I could. So, and like I was able to do that, but it's like, I don't know. I don't, it's crazy to me that you didn't have trouble with managing your inventory. That's insane to me. I don't know how that happened.
I mean, one of the things is you don't need to hoard stuff for the most part in this game. Like, the resources are just kind of lying around everywhere. So,
right. But if it's
kind of pick up for the most part what you need when you need it.
So that's another thing that Fallout does better than this game, which is in Fallout, if you need a particular thing, you can mark it and you can put a little symbol. So if you're walking around in the world, like for instance, glue is kind of like, oh, you need glue for a lot of stuff. So like, excuse me, if you see glue, something that's like can be broken down into glue, and you highlight it like in the menus, it'll have a little magnifying glass next to it, and you're like, oh, that's glue. Okay, I need that, and then you take it. Like, or like, oh, this one breaks down into steel. I need steel, and I marked steel, so I see that this is a thing I need. But here it's like, you know, the items are more one-to-one. It's not like Fallout where it breaks it down and stuff. But sometimes you're like, I don't know if I need this. You're like, I know I want the tool that this thing I need to make for that. Like, I know I need cave sulfur, for instance. This came up for me. I was like, I know I need cave sulfur, but like, I don't know where I get that. And then like eventually later I found it, but you know, it wasn't like clearly like I couldn't mark what I needed to make that particular thing. And if I hadn't just remembered, then I never would have bothered to pick it up. Because
I mean, there is a whole glossary in the game where you can see any of the recipes that you know how to craft.
Well, I don't know that. But also, that's still annoying because you need to go into another menu to do that. Same thing, too, when you're in the crafting menu. So, for instance, here's a situation that came up. Let's say I'm trying to make 2 items. One takes, like, items like A, B, C, and one takes items like A, B, D. So, you can't open your inventory while you're in the crafting menu. So you can't, and when it says like, so let's say they both take like 1 of each item, right? So then to make both, I would need 2 of item A and 2 of item B, right? So I can't, it says that I have them both, but it doesn't say how many I have of both. So I don't know if I can craft both those things until I just experiment and do it. Because since I have limited inventory, I may not have, say like titanium, I may not have 2 titanium on me. I may have it in storage, but I may not have it on me. And I can't check my inventory from the crafting menu. I have to leave the crafting menu, go into storage, and see if it's in there, or check my inventory, which is another menu, or if it's not in either of those places, I need to go outside, go into my box, find it, get it, go back in, and then craft it. Whereas if I could just craft stuff from storage, none of that would need to happen. But you can.
Yeah, but look,
and you make this sound so much more complicated than it ever felt when I was playing this game.
I wish I didn't feel like it was complicated. This is what came up for me all the time. I'm just like sitting there like, I know I have fucking acid mushrooms somewhere, but I don't know where it is. And I needed to get it to find a battery, and I had to sort through all these boxes and shit. Stuff like that came up like all the time. I do think part of it is that I'm very OCD about things in games, as you may have figured out. Whereas like this is not a good game for somebody who has OCD. Actually, it's a good game and it's a bad game for that, because it gives you lots of OCD not friendly. It gives you a lot.
Gives you lots of checklists.
Yeah, it's like you can make a box and then you can put a label on the box, and then you can like be like, okay, this is my box for just this item, and this is my box for just this item and stuff. But also like you're gonna go crazy doing that. So this is like a nightmare game for somebody like me, because it's like it's the UI is so not user friendly that it's like you have to make it user friendly, and that's really annoying. I'm dying. I'm remembering all this stuff on the inside, like as I'm saying all this, and I'm going fucking crazy. Like,
I'm just mystified, man. You can carry a lot of stuff in this game.
I'm mystified too, because you've already told me before. You're like, oh, I had plenty of space. I'm like, fucking how? Like, how did you have room for anything? Like, I was dying the whole time. Like, I was almost always full all the time. I would be like, cool, I have an empty inventory. I'm gonna go look for stuff, and then I'd be full in like minutes. And it's like, great, I need to go back and put shit in a box.
But were you just collecting like every bit of copper, titanium you could find?
No, that's what I'm telling you. I've said that already. That's why I'm like mystified that it wasn't an issue for you.
I think he was.
No, I wasn't. I
don't know.
literally stopped.
I don't know. It's just really weird to me that this is kind of the only thing you seem to focused on. When for me, there's so much other stuff going on in this game.
But I think what the main difference is like I like to explore in games, but this game, the exploration was not interesting to me. Does that make sense? Like,
I mean, yeah, I can understand if it didn't click with you, but I guess I think the exploration is personally, I think it's really good because I think that the game world is interesting and beautiful and filled with weird, like, mysterious stuff, and they're really good at giving you like a breadcrumb trail to follow that takes you to new places if you follow the different distress messages that you get by the radio.
I did like that. I didn't start doing that till towards the end, just because I like maybe like the last hour or so, just because I didn't have the parts to fix the radio. I like what you're doing right now, Eric. Too. It doesn't work like that, even though it would make sense if it did. But,
Eric, you really got to build yourself the oxygen tank. You can't hold your breath for that long.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want.
You can.
Yeah, it's true. Go swim in the radiation again.
Anyway, I don't know. There's so much stuff in this game, and it just from your description, it kind of feels like you didn't see much of it. But I mean, I don't know.
I swam around. There was a bunch of shit to pick up. I couldn't pick up a lot of it. I don't know.
You couldn't kill
I
the
did
fish.
get the thing where like I could. I don't like. Okay, so I got the little module that lets you build shit. So I was like, okay, I can build a base now. But then that also, you run into all the same UI problems that I was talking about with like storage and crafting things in the escape pod. So I was like, well, this fucking sucks again. I'm not gonna do that. Like, that's where I think like creative mode would be more fun. But at that point, I was already like, well, whatever, fuck this. Like, so.
Building your own James Bond villain underwater sea base is definitely one of my favorite things about this game. The UI for it is pretty clunky. That I definitely won't argue with that part.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I didn't feel like I was saying originally, like my expectation was, oh, this is not going to be Minecraft. Like the thought of this game being similar to Minecraft never even occurred to me, right? But I think like that's what this game is. It's just instead of I guess it's like a more specific and limited Minecraft, if that makes sense. Because Minecraft, it's Legos, you can do anything, right? But here,
I mean,
it's like,
if you want to go into creative mode, you can do a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, it's not just building blocks one on top of the other.
It's always going to be an underwater base in like on a sea planet, right? Because like Minecraft has a little bit more flexibility because it's Legos. That's what I mean.
Suppose, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I mean by that.
But there's the game has a lot more of a story focus than Minecraft does.
Oh yeah, for sure. But although I don't know, I didn't really get to any of that because the only thing that I got was like every once in a while somebody came on the radio and they were like, "Hey, I'm sad," and I was like, "Okay, I'll come cheer you up," and then they weren't there. But
did they say it like a 40s movie actor? Yeah, say I'm sad.
No, they were always like, "Come help us," and then I go over there and it's like nobody was there.
Oh, they're already dead. Damn it.
I don't know, their bodies weren't even there, but I did like that mechanic introduces, because they're like, it was actually really funny to me. It's a good mechanic, but it's also funny because they're like, "Please come help me and the like sea glider part are like trapped at this location." It's like, oh, okay, I guess if I go there I get a sea glider part, huh? It's like, but you know, I'm like, oh, I need that. I'll go over there and get it. So it was like, all right, cool.
Give me that sea glider
And
part.
maybe that guy will get help. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever, fuck him. Who cares? Yeah. Like, not that kind of game.
I like how Eric's swimming around with a pipe in his hand, thinking this is Final Fight.
It's
let's-
Half-Life
Just in
3.
case of the head crab in one of these caves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
You
know,
never know
I
when
think,
there's a head crab.
I think I will save my deep dive, ha ha ha, into this for when we do our end of the year stuff, because it's so very high on my personal list. I guess if nothing else, you've had your baptism by fire into the annals of Stickmas history.
Or by water.
Yeah, I guess that would have made more sense. Are you just trying to make these rocks sink, Eric? Is that what your
Yeah,
goal
I'm
is
just
right
kinda
now?
picking around.
Anyway, so it's too bad that you don't like things that are fun. It's too bad Anthony wasn't here to tell you that you don't like things that are fun. Also,
Yeah.
Um,
The scanner sucks. Also, that's like a dumb waste of time. Like you're just sitting there like
I mean, that's
keeping a
scanners.
little beam on a guy.
Scanners are scanners.
Yeah.
that's how you get to build cool stuff, is by scanning things.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, it's not fun. There's nothing that's fun in this. Like
I think the
like,
swimming feels pretty damn good. I'll be honest.
I mean, I
thought
think
it felt like nothing. That's what I'm. That's the issue. Is it's just like I don't know. I'm moving around. All right.
there's a lot of really cool stuff that you didn't get to. Like once you've got a base and vehicles and things, the way the game handles transitions into and out of them is seamless in a way that like I don't think I've ever seen any other game come close. You can have like you can get into your little submarine in your moon pool and it deposits you into the water, and then you can go drive your little submarine into your big submarine, climb out, and then drive that thing around. Like it's just all seamless. Kind of, first person, never breaks. It doesn't really take control away from you. I don't know. I find that part super satisfying. I mean, just for the record, I also think this game is super gorgeous. I think it's really good at being a chill out game, but also at scaring the shit out of you when you turn around and there's some big nasty fish about to eat your face off. I think it does really cool stuff with the different environments. I really like exploring. Exploring the wrecks is really realistic feeling in the sense that it's something that it's something that actual divers do in real life, even if they're not spaceships that are wrecked. But it kind of and building bases is really cool. So I don't know, maybe someday you'll come back and turn off the hunger and thirst mechanics and give it another try, because I know how much.
No illusions about this, Mike. I will never play this game again, ever.
It's for the
You
best.
definitely will.
Yeah, it is absolutely. But let's see. What else do I want to complain about? There was a little bit more.
You were so sad when you got.
But I guess really what it all boils down to is like ultimately it feels like what you're doing in this game is never interesting to me, which is like on top. All the UI stuff is not cool, but I already complained about that. Like it's like ultimately you're just kind of swimming around and doing whatever, and it's like I don't really want to do that. Like I don't have like there needs to be some sort of focus or goal, and it's like
There's
I
a
never.
goal.
Stay
There's
alive.
a very clear goal. It's get off
What
the
is it?
planet.
Well, okay, but like
And
There's
you have
no-
to do a bunch of stuff to make that happen.
but like you don't do any like you do stuff, but it's like most of the time
Well,
I'm just,
you don't do it.
you're just swimming around picking shit up, and just like every once in a while a dude calls me on the radio, or they're like, "Hey." That's it.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Like,
they didn't put a big arrow on the map for you, but there's all sorts of
It's-
stuff that you need to do in order to get off the planet.
It's not so much that there's not a because like other games I've played have like no instruction, they just let you loose in the world, and I like that. But it's like here, it just feels like the stuff that you're doing like in the moment is not interesting. Like you're just swimming around. It's like, all right, is this it? Like, is there? The thing is, it's kind of I think you already said it, where it's like if I wanted a game with like deep mechanics or something, like this isn't it. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly it. It's like there's stuff to learn in this game, but it's not the kind of things that would interest me. Like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get better at like fighting the fish or like learning how to like swim or something. It's like you learn how to make new things and like manage your inventory better and things like that.
Alex
It's like
not
that's
create,
not
Alex only destroy.
yeah, essentially. That's why this is the anti-Alex game. That's what I said.
Alright.
I'm not like a creative person,
Mhm.
and I don't really care about like I want to like have interesting moment-to-moment gameplay most of the time. And this is just kind of like you're just like dicking around in the water. You're just swimming around and like finding stuff. It's like okay, but like there's nothing really satisfying about that to me. So it ultimately just kind of is whatever. And then on top of that, there's all the UI shit that I was already complaining about. So it's like, all right, so this game's whatever, and then it's also bullshit. So it's like, so that's not a good combo. It's not a good look. I don't
Oh
know.
well, I
did
know
not
what to do
care
next
for
time
it.
if I intentionally want to make you suffer.
You can't pick the same game again.
Gonna have DLC.
That doesn't count. No. Whatever. Anyway, you're getting Desert Bus next year, so get ready.
Yeah, we should be able to make half a round trip. No, I didn't know half. I should be able to make half a one-way trip in my 4 hours.
Yeah.
Was there literally an end in that game? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can.
It's like an 8-hour drive that you can just do over and over again.
You can do the drive, yeah, and then you turn around and go back the other way.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like infinite.
How do I,
It
how
is
do
not
I
endless.
discard stuff I don't need?
You kind of just dump it into the ocean. You know, like
Wow.
you do.
Can't do
Nice.
it in my ship.
You can eventually build a
can't.
trash can, but you don't have it yet.
You can't poop where you eat, man.
Oh boy, I don't know, Mike. At least,
See?
at least in
I'm
the.
not the only one.
So-
Look at how big his inventory was. His inventory's been full twice already.
I played a bunch
This is what I'm
of
talking about,
of the Long Dark, and so all the items in that game are like interactable in the world. So if you want to just dump something like literally anywhere, you can just like throw it on the ground.
Well, you can do that in the water, just not inside your escape pod.
Right. Well, why not?
I don't know, man, because they made all the physics for floating stuff.
Thank
How are
you.
you-
Thank you, Eric. I love you.
How are you gonna make a giant pile of cheese that gets in your way?
Oh man.
Don't worry, you can make a box and put it outside and put shit in the box if you want.
Can I-
Actually, one thing I did like is when my inventory was full and I went outside and just threw shit out, it was still there on the ocean floor, like when I went
That's
for
what
it
I
there.
just said.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't do it inside your escape
Yeah,
pod.
but that's just like that's annoying because that's the only time I would care enough to actually manage my inventory is when I'm in the escape pod.
When you're in the escape
Right. So
pod
like
where you
so like
can
in the
craft
Long
stuff.
Dark, you're kind of like, especially when you play the survival mode, you probably just have a base and you might want to keep that a little neater, but like you're kind of in the story mode, you're moving from area to area and like it kind of like, well, I don't need this extra rabbit hide or this extra rabbit guts or whatever, so I'm just gonna throw it on the floor over here, and then if I need it I can come back and get it. But
I mean, it's super easy to build a little chest to put stuff in this game.
But you have to go outside to get into it.
right.
Not once you have a base, you can have lockers and
So
stuff.
like in the Long
But
Dark, you
then
don't
you have
make
the same issue.
you have to like pick
which-
pick a base that already has a bunch of storage containers, because otherwise you won't be able to find anything in the pile.
The issue
But
with like a submarine or a base or whatever is, yeah, you have lockers, but then it's the same thing where it's like instead of swimming inside and outside to go to the boxes, you still have to go over physically to the other lockers and
you
look
can
in
put
these-
them right next to your fabricator,
Yeah,
so
I
you
think-
just have to kind of
I
turn
think
them in
it's an
space.
issue of the
still
sheer
need to do
volume
that.
of like I haven't played enough of this game to really comment one way or the other yet, but it like the Long Dark, there's only a handful of actual useful items for the most part, and when it comes to crafting, you don't necessarily need a ton of that stuff to keep yourself afloat. But in this game, it definitely seems like you're collecting a lot of stuff to make a lot of different stuff. So I would appreciate like a big list of all of this stuff someplace. But
Well, too bad.
bouncing from menu to
All right,
menu,
well,
guys.
I'm done with you people. You don't appreciate great things. I'm sorry for you.
No, we do. How's that relevant to this game? Wah, wah, wah.
I'll probably
Hey, go swim
I'll
over
probably
the-
turn the,
Alternate answer. I do, and that's why I
I'll
don't
probably
like this
turn
game.
everything except for the O2 meter off. Actually, what I should do is see if there's a thing that I would actually probably be better off if I played with all the meters on and then like hacked it so I had infinite inventory space.
Yeah,
I don't know how you could do that. I mean, maybe if it busted the grid completely and just covered your entire screen. I don't know.
Do you not? Is there no inventory upgrades, like basic inventory?
The amount that you
anymore?
can carry with you stays the same.
What?
But you get like you do get like a little submarine and you can put stuff in there and you
Yeah,
have,
you
like,
can put.
yeah,
You can. I mean, you get a big ass submarine. You can pile all sorts of shit in there if you want.
yeah. So there's other things you can
You
do
also
with that.
don't need to carry that much stuff most of the time. Like, I don't know what's with you hoarders.
Well, you have to pick stuff up and then bring it back, right? I guess you
Sure,
just like
but you
make
don't
a
need, like-
shopping list, then go and find
What's
it.
what's the size of your inventory there? That's 6 by. You got 48
Well,
inventory
yeah, but this
slots.
metal salvage takes up 4 spots per thing. Same with these.
Yeah, but you don't need 20 of them.
Well, yeah, but
But then the other
how
issue
do I know
too
that
is
though?
that
You know that
the
because you
thing-
played a bunch of the game, but I don't
Exactly.
know that going in. I mean, I guess.
No, but after a couple hours, you kind of get a feel for it.
the other thing is too is that you start to get more tools and more things, so they start taking up more space in your inventory, so you have less usable inventory.
Wait, your tools take up inventory space?
Yes.
Oh.
So like you get the
Depends-
scanner,
it depends which
you
ones.
get the knife, you get the submarine, you get your oxygen
Don't
tank.
carry the submarine.
Not the submarine, the little
The sea
glider.
glide.
Yeah.
It depends on the tools. Some of them you equip on your body, and some of them you put in your inventory.
Okay.
Right, but
Most
so
of them
for instance,
most of them take up one slot.
most of them, but not all of them. For instance, the rebreather mask, it takes up like 4 or 6 or something like that, and then the radiation helmet takes up an equal number of slots. So it's like, if you don't know if the area you're going to is going to have radiation or not, you don't know whether you need one or both. So it's like the rebreather is the best one if you're just sticking around in the water. So like that's fine. But if you know, like you don't know, like I would want to have both of them on me because like, oh, what if I run into radiation somewhere? But then that's just like 4 or 6 or whatever inventory spaces I'm wasting because I have this thing on me that I don't know if I'm gonna need and probably won't. But how do I know?
Oh man,
That's why this game is not an Alex
picked
game.
up
Is
this
because like I
fish.
want to have all the options.
I picked
but
up this
can't.
fish and then I dropped it, and now it's just like flipping the fuck out and spinning all over the place. It's no longer.
now it's
'cause
Eric's favorite
cooked.
game.
It's cooked, so it's like a piece of toasted fish.
You should hit something with that pipe.
It's old. I can't use the pipe to hit things.
I know.
Also,
other
the
thing I
long
don't
dark
like
has you can hit things with pipes.
what is it? There's a. I like that this game, like I said, like doesn't have direction. It kind of just dumps you into it, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But some of the things I feel like
Alex,
would.
I found the
if
thing that's
they're-
fun.
Yeah.
You have to
watching
you
the
cook
fish
cook a hoverfish, and then
Play soccer with it.
and then push it.
around.
Push it real good. Some of the things I wish like would have like slightly better item descriptions because at one point I made like an air pump and some pipes and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this does. I still have no idea
You
what the fuck.
Those
Connect
things
the-
are kind of useless,
You
honestly.
connect
Like I'm
the
not,
pipes.
What?
Well, so
I'm not sure why they're in the
I
game
think
really.
it's so. I watched Giant Bomb stream this game like 4 years ago when it was still like an early access thing, and so at that time it was much more focused on the survival aspects. And your O2 was much more limited. So like you would take that air pump and then you would swim a certain distance out and then you would connect pipes to it so that you would have these dangling places where you could get air without having to go all the way back up to the surface. But it doesn't seem like that has much of a practical use. Maybe in the more
It doesn't really belong
maybe
in this version of the game.
well, also
I
there's
can
also
think
a
of, like, one
hardcore
or-
mode. I don't know if that's how you played it, Mike, but that might make more sense in that context.
Well, you have to not die, but I think if you're good enough to play the hardcore mode, then you're gonna not. You won't need the tubes. Like you can carry around a spare oxygen tank. That's a way better way of getting more oxygen.
I don't know.
Or you build a little submarine and then you can get oxygen by going
I
to
like
it.
swimming around. I might dick around with this some more at some point, but there's so many fucking video games.
What?
Oh my god, there's too many video games.
No way.
There are a lot.
There's a lot of video
Welcome
games.
to reality since about 1995.
I mean, really, since oh, what's this over here? What is this? Did I drop a flare over here? Or something? What is that?
I
Back in
forgot.
like the 80s and early 90s, when I'd go to the computer store, I could actually count the number of new releases they had every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk up and be like,
Like here's
okay,
the new game
that's
for
new.
April.
Yeah, right. Like, I haven't seen this before.
It's a different world.
Yep.
Anyways.
All right, well,
There's
you want to sign us off then?
yeah. Bye. I don't know. You got anything else to say?
Bye.
Do you have anything else?
That's Alex hates on Mike's game pick,
Works for me.
2019.
Yeah. Join us next year for Desert Buzz.
There's some pretty good looking weeds.
I
You
know,
know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Nice.
Yeah, it's drugs. Anyway. Hey, you know what? This game, I would probably think this game was cool if I still smoked weed. That's true.